created by Mindsticks Foundation Trust.
Hello, students, and welcome to today's Explainer. We have a truly vital lesson ahead of us today. We are going to start by exploring ecosystems and their delicate balance, and then clear up the exact difference between the environment and an ecosystem. After that, we'll bravely face the severe threat of pollution, discuss the absolute need for conservation, and finally look at our own social responsibility. So let's dive right in, shall we? Section 1. Ecosystems and their delicate balance. As we begin, I want to remind all of you that every single living thing in nature plays a crucial role in maintaining our ecological baseline. Just look at the sheer intricacy of this food chain. You can see energy flowing so beautifully from the producers, our brain plants, right up the ladder to predators like the eagle. But look carefully down at the bottom of the cycle. Often, a question arises in our minds. Are organisms found in filthy places, things like termites, insects in dung, or fungi, are they really useful? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Even though we might mistakenly think of them as dirty, they are completely essential. They are basically nature's continuous cleaning crew. If fallen foliage, dead trees, and carcasses weren't decomposed by them, waste would simply pile up for years. Believe it or not, our very existence depends on these tiny cleaners. Let's apply this logic with a practical example right from home. What happens to a South Indian paddy field if the frog population suddenly declines? You see, paddy is cultivated on a massive scale there, and these fields are frequently attacked by grasshoppers. Naturally, frogs are present in the mud to feed on those grasshoppers, and snakes are there to feed on the frogs. It's a perfect chain. But if the frogs suddenly vanish, what happens next? The grasshopper population will multiply completely out of control, utterly destroying the paddy crop. And the snakes? Well, they're left without food and will starve. So the entire system collapses from the removal of just one single component. It brilliantly illustrates just how fragile this balance truly is. Moving on to Section 2, Environment versus Ecosystem. Having looked at a single paddy field, we are now going to broaden our perspective to the entire world around us. The crucial point here is understanding the clear distinction between these two terms. The environment is a very broad concept. It is literally the surrounding condition that includes all biotic, abiotic, natural, and even artificial factors affecting living organisms in any possible way. Ecology, on the other hand, is the actual science. It is the study of the interactions between these living and non-living factors, and the basic functional unit we use to study ecology is what we call an ecosystem. To put it quite simply, a small pond is an ecosystem, while the Earth itself is the largest ecosystem of all. Now, an ecosystem is built upon two main pillars. First, we have the abiotic components. These are the physical factors like air, water, soil, and sunlight, as well as inorganic substances like hydrogen, oxygen, and iron. Second, we have the biotic components, the living parts. This includes the autotrophic producers, basically plants making their own food, the heterotrophic animals acting as consumers, and finally, those decomposers we talked about earlier. It's the continuous, delicate interaction between these physical elements and living creatures that actually sustains life. This brings us to Section 3. Here, the tone of our lesson must shift a bit as we address a core conflict, the threat of pollution, caused directly by human interference. Unfortunately, we see a stark reality here. Thick fog and severe pollution, completely choking a busy street. Unnecessary and unacceptable changes in our surroundings due to natural events, or far more frequently, human activities, are what we call environmental pollution. We are directly altering the physical, chemical, and biological properties of our air, water, and soil in ways that are immensely harmful to all living beings. Unplanned urbanization and rapid industrialization are literally pushing nature right to the brink. We really must carefully analyze the sources of this degradation. Pollution takes several major forms. First, air pollution is driven by harmful gases like carbon dioxide and sulfur, alongside solid components like dust, ash, and lead. Then, water pollution comes from industrial wastes, domestic sewage, and agricultural pesticides being recklessly discharged into our water bodies. And finally, soil pollution results in devastating effects like soil erosion, retarded growth of crops, and severe nutritional deficiencies in the land itself. The specific components causing this widespread harm are all around us every single day. But perhaps the most terrifying threat of all is radioactive pollution. Artificial radiations from atomic energy plants have caused truly monumental disasters. Gravely, the major mishaps at places like Chernobyl, Windscale, and 3 Mile Island have affected thousands of lives for the very long term, and the effects are horrifying. High doses of radiation, like X-rays, cause cancerous ulcerations. Tissues in the body are completely destroyed. It creates irreversible genetic changes that can actually be passed down to future generations, and it adversely affects human vision. This is the dark, harsh reality of what artificial pollution can do to the human body. Now, we must pivot from this dark reality to our vital resolution in Section 4, the need for conservation. I want to ask you all to reflect deeply on this profound wisdom from Mahatma Gandhi. The earth is sufficient to satisfy everyone's need, but not the greed. Human existence is totally impossible without the existence of nature. Therefore, preserving our environment isn't merely a scientific necessity, it is our basic moral responsibility. If we do not control our greed and overconsumption, this beautiful environmental balance will be permanently destroyed. Thankfully, there has been a global historical awakening to this exact need. Back in 1972, the United Nations Environment Program, or UNEP, was established during a major conference dedicated to human and environmental problems. The world finally started to take notice. Afterwards, right here in India, a separate environmental department was established in 1985. Today, the Ministry of Environments and Forests is actively involved in planning and increasing environmental awareness through various dedicated programs. Finally, we reach Section 5, our social responsibility. How exactly do we translate this need into action and codify our moral duties into binding laws? There is a profound paradox to human existence. Humans stepped onto the earth long after its formation. We proved our superiority using intelligence, memory, and imagination, and we established complete domination over nature. In snatching from nature to live a comfortable life, we caused this massive imbalance. But from this scenario, we must understand one very important thing. If human activity disturbed the balance, then human intelligence is literally the only tool we have left to conserve and improve the quality of nature. It is our absolute responsibility. To enforce this responsibility, society has created strict legal frameworks. For instance, the Forest Conservation Act of 1980 clearly prohibits the use of reserved forest land for any other purpose without central permission. The Environmental Protection Act of 1986 is incredibly powerful. It punishes anyone releasing pollutants beyond permissible limits with up to 5 years of imprisonment or heavy fines. Furthermore, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 completely bans the trading of rare animals and the use of articles prepared from wild animal organs. Violating these acts carries severe penalties, ensuring our resources are strongly protected by law. I want to conclude today's explainer by leaving you with a very thought-provoking idea. We do not own this planet. We hold this earth on a lease for our future generations. It is not a property inherited from our ancestors. Every single action you take matters, from properly disposing of your daily waste to protecting the smallest ecosystem right in your neighborhood. The laws are definitely there, but true conservation requires your active, daily participation. So I ask you, what will you do to restore the balance today? Thank you for paying attention, students. Keep learning and keep protecting our beautiful environment.